Hello and welcome to Pressing Buttons, episode 16. I'm Hugo,
I'm Nick.
and it's good to be here again. Another week, another good episode for you guys to listen to. We're glad you are joining us again. And a quick little reminder we are up on Discord, Pressing Buttons GG, baby. We'll put the link on the show notes, and then we also have it on the website. Make sure you join the Discord because we're going to be doing a nice little giveaway. As soon as we reach 100 members on the Discord, we're going to be giving away 5 Pressing Buttons shirts with the Pressing Buttons logo, which is a fancy dandy logo made by DPass. So I know you guys love it.
Fancy dandy. Okay. Also, it's pressing buttons GG. It's not pressing buttons GG baby. I think you added the baby on a little bit too quick at the end, where people might think that's actually
Uh,
where the destination is. So
you
that's
know how much I love my run-on sentences.
yeah.
But yeah, join the Discord. It's a growing community. Everybody's in there, joking, laughing, helping each other play video games. We're having a lot of fun. It's a good community. So join, get there, so you can have a chance to win a shirt, and you'll love the shirt. Which, as soon as they get made, we'll be displaying them. If you're watching this on YouTube, you will see a preview of that very soon. If not, watch it on YouTube as well. Listen to us on Spotify, listen to us on Apple, watch us on YouTube. Just everywhere. All right. So let's just get started. We're going to talk some video game news this week. Very light week in terms of video game news. Not a lot going on, but you know us, we always find the good little nuggets that we like to throw out there to you guys. First thing we want to talk about real quick is PlayStation and Microsoft. There's some rumors going around that they're going to be adding ads to certain free-to-play games. We're not going to dive too much into this because we want to make like a bigger segment in the future, especially when they make more concrete announcement of what it's going to be. Because I know Nick has a lot of thoughts on advertising in video games and how much it is for the industry and all that stuff. So the real quick note that I'm just going to say is I'm not a big proponent of ads in anything. I hate ads on web browsers. I hate ads on YouTube. I hate ads on video games. But I know I understand the gaming industry and how it is, especially with these free to play games, that with the advertisements, it's a better way for them to make money so they don't charge you, obviously. So, like I said, the more information we get out of this, once they release more details on it, I'll have more of a formed opinion. But I am against ads. Fuck that. Nick?
Whoa. Little hostile there. Uh,
I'm
yeah. No, I
always
have
hostile.
I have I have a lot
It's
of.
like my default mode. Default mode,
That's not
hostile,
true. That's not true.
hostility. Well,
That's
to
not
ads, hostility to ads.
hostile Hugo.
Yeah.
I do love alliteration, so.
Hmm.
Hmm. Uh, yeah, no, I think I have a lot of thoughts on this that I want to flesh out, and we can plan on a more detailed segment down the road. Uh, but yeah, it's like, so you personally hate ads. I also personally hate ads, but there's a lot of people who are okay with ads, and so I think it's actually a really huge market opportunity, and I think if it's done right, it could actually be good because right now, like most free to play games are kind of limited to like exactly how monetization can work, and like you have to build like a specific type of experience. Whether it's like some sort of MOBA or battle royale or whatever. So there's only, I would say, like a small number of experiences that really gel with a free to play like microtransaction model. And so the thought is like, okay, well, maybe there's other experiences that you can build that just have more like, ads or dynamically inserted it into it in some way that people are fine with, and that's like another way of building, a free to play game just through like a different type of advertising. So I don't know. I think it could be good, but as we've seen with microtransaction models, like it's rarely the case that it actually comes to like a compelling experience, like it's almost always used inappropriately and pisses off consumers and fans. So I'm sure that's going to happen as well with advertising baked into the games. But I think I'm open to the idea of that potentially working well for specific experiences. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, I can't wait for the future where there'll be Mountain Dew plastered all over like God of War or something.
No, it's not. I don't think it's going to be
Yeah,
that. I don't think
no,
it's
that
going
was that was sarcasm. I don't want to. I don't want that at all.
to.
All right.
Yeah, but he probably does like Mountain Dew.
Oh no. Oh.
Kratos, I think he's a Mountain Dew guy.
Oh, oh, I thought you meant me. Yeah, Kratos probably. Me, no. I'm a good Sunkiss or Fanta man myself. So, all right. So like we said, we touched a little bit on that. We want to wait till we get more information, as it is just rumors for the moment. But the rumors are out there that it's going to be more towards the end of the year. We'll start seeing it. So we'll definitely have some future segment where we discuss that in more detail. I know Nick wants to write a piece and discuss it on the podcast, and then I'll have it on the website so you guys can kind of check it out. He's a good writer, trust me.
We'll see. But yeah, I think you kind of touched on it a little bit. But the other thing is, it's like they're talking about putting ads into games, but it's specifically free to play games as a service, which they've both mentioned. Both Microsoft and Sony PlayStation have mentioned that they're going to be delivering a lot more of those games in the future. I think Sony said something specifically like, I think it was like 15 games, over some number of years that they're planning on delivering that are going to be games as a service. So it's like, okay, well, like how many, based on what we understand today of like microtransaction models, like, is it going to be just battle royales and hero shooters? And it's like they need to come up with other different types of experiences, and I think maybe there's a path where just inserting ads into it is like another method that they could do to make it free to play.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see sometime soon. All right. The next bit of news that we wanted to move on to was another Star Wars game getting announced. And we talked about this a couple episodes ago that EA was developing three Star Wars games, one being a first person shooter, one being the Jedi Fallen Order, and then one being like a tactics type game. Now, this is another one that they're developing along with Amy Hennig. And for those that don't know, Amy Hennig is a well known person in the video game industry. She is very popular because she worked on the Uncharted series. She mostly wrote Uncharted 2, which, in my opinion, was the best Uncharted of all of them. She left the studio after some uh, controversy. I guess they didn't get along too well, and she's been kind of working around trying to find a home. And now with this new studio, New Skydance Media, they announced that they're going to be working on a Star Wars adventure game. Now she had been previously working with Visceral Games to develop this type of game, which is basically like Uncharted meets Star Wars. There is a very little short clip on the internet of like a bounty hunter coming out of a cantina overlooking Tatooine and like some X-wings and stuff like that flying across the air. So it's like a little bit of a teaser. So it's gonna be something like that. I'm all for it. I love her work in Uncharted. I thought that she did a great job. She's a great writer. She's a great developer. Everybody that works with her seems to love working with her, and I'm pretty sure the studio's in good hands with her leading them. Your thoughts on this?
Is there such a thing as too many Star Wars games?
Well, the thing with Star Wars is there was such a drought of Star Wars stuff for so many years because since the prequels bombed for so much, everybody was like, I don't want no Star Wars shit. But then with the reintroduction of the main movies a couple years back with the new trilogy and stuff like that, even though You had a bunch of animated shows like the Clone Wars, and all those other shows that focus on Star Wars. With the introduction of all that, now they're saturating the market. So is there too much Star Wars? I wouldn't necessarily say yes. It just depends on, is there too much good Star Wars or is there too much bad Star Wars? So it all
Yeah.
depends. So far, I think we're right down the middle because I thought Jedi Fallen Order was good, Force Unleashed was good. I don't know about Battlefront. I didn't think it was that great, but it appeased a lot of Star Wars fans. So it all depends on your side if you think it's good Star Wars or bad Star Wars. My my whole thing with Star Wars is I am tired of Jedi's. I know they're the main driving force of Star Wars, but they get too much attention. I think it's such an expansive universe that I want them to explore other cultures, other worlds, and stuff like that. And they do that in like comics and books. So I want that to be translated in movies and TV shows and video games, which is why I think like all those other shows are more popular because you don't see Jedi's all the time. And I know it's maybe not the most popular opinion because everybody wants the Skywalker family and all that stuff. I'm kind of tired of Jedi's.
That's interesting. Yeah, I guess it's every game that's been announced. It's kind of its own experience in a particular genre. So maybe uh, it's a lot of Star Wars, but at the same time, the games are very different. So maybe it's not really gonna have the feel of it being like too much Star Wars because it's kind of again focusing on a particular type of game. Uh, I just I want a Mandalorian game. Like to me, Mandalorian's been the best of Star Wars in the last very long time, and I know they were working on like a bounty hunter type game that ended up getting canceled. So, um, I don't know. They didn't mention anything about what like could it be a this new Amy Hedda game? Like, could it be a bounty
I
hunter thing, or did they get lose some details?
Well, I believe the one you're talking about is was it Star Wars 1313,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
where it was like deep deep cut of Star Wars lore where it's a special kind of area with the bounty hunting and stuff like that, and the underworld, the Star Wars underworld, which is a great topic to explore. I think in any game you would video games are made for that. That's a great thing to explore, but I think they didn't mention anything specific, but based on her background and stuff like that, I think it's just going to be more of a very Uncharted type Star Wars game because Uncharted itself was very Indiana Jones, and then you have bounty hunters being very Indiana Jones. So I think it's just going to be like an action adventure one, not necessarily focused on Mandalorians, which I think would be good, but I think just this it's going to be its own brand new thing that won't necessarily be connected to Mandalorians, won't necessarily be connected to Jedis, even though you'll hear about them probably. We'll
Yeah,
have to see.
I wouldn't think it's exactly Mandalorian, but it could be that type of take on Star Wars lore.
Yeah, give me some bounty hunting and smuggling stuff, and I'll be happy.
You love smuggling.
Oh, gotta smuggle, bro, on the low. But yeah, we'll be excited to get more information. Obviously, this is very early stages of development. Being that the studio has been around since 2010, they mostly worked on TV and film and animation, and this part of that studio is now focused on video games, headed by Amy Hennig. So we'll see. Hopefully, we get a lot more information sooner rather than later, just because I know a lot of people would be interested in more content coming from the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, look forward to our review in episode 500 of Pressing Buttons.
There you go. Well, put a tab on it. All right, and then the next thing we want to talk about was Nino Kuni. Nino Kuni Crossworlds. It's a new collaboration between Level 5 that developed Dragon Quest 8 and also Professor Layton and other Nino Kuni games, along with Studio.
I
Along with
knew I
Studio.
was wondering if you were going to know how to pronounce this.
Along with Studio Ghibli.
Ghibli.
Damn it.
It's Ghibli.
Along with Studio Ghibli, who obviously, of course, made Spirit Awake and Princess Mononoke.
Oh my
You
god,
totally,
I should have taken this one.
you totally love when I fuck up these names.
Spirited Away, Princess Mononoke. Yeah,
Is it Nausicaa? Nausicaa of the Wind?
Nausicaa.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know
the one I
how. I
remember. That's
actually
the first
don't.
one I said.
I don't know. That's like how you would say, kind of how you would say it in Japanese. I don't actually don't know how you. Maybe it's Nausicaa as
Yeah,
how
well,
we'd
that
say
was
it in
the
the
first
West.
one I saw. I saw that one before I saw any of the other ones. That's how I know Studio Ghibli. There you go.
Ooh. And now what I'm waiting for is someone to be like, "No, it's Ghibli," and you're wrong. And I could, maybe I've been wrong this whole time, but
Yeah,
I'm
I
pretty
was
I'm
right
pretty
either
sure.
way, basically. Just say it wrong both
Yeah.
times and I'll be right.
Yeah.
But I know you're a big Nino Kuni fan. I myself know of the series. I didn't necessarily play it. What did you think of this announcement? Are you excited for this game?
Yeah, I actually didn't know about this at all. So I own both Nino Kuni 1 and 2. I played quite a bit of 1, but then just kind of got sidetracked and never got back into it. But I did like what I played. I just maybe wasn't enough to keep me hooked uh, for completing the game. I played a lot of Nino Kuni 2 on PC, and it's a pretty it's like easy. So to me, it was like this really fun kind of casual experience. I don't know. I just had a lot of fun with it, even though it's like not uh, the most complex of games by any means, and it just looks beautiful, and the music's great, and the story is kind of like pretty cookie cutter, but I just had a really good time with it. Uh, and so yeah, they it's Ni no Kuni Cross Worlds. It's currently on mobile, but there will be a PC version as well. It already came out in parts of Asia last year, and apparently it's like doing super well. Like it's up there with Genshin Impact and those types of games. So definitely gonna give this a try to see what it's like. So I'll just be waiting on the PC version because I'm a PC snob, and I think it'll be free to play, gotcha mechanics and all that stuff, which I know are polarizing, but I'm okay with it.
What has this world come to? Free to play gotcha mechanics. Well, yeah, I'll be waiting for your impressions. I know it's a great beloved series. I'm excited to see what you think of this, and maybe I'll pick it up myself.
Did you know when I first heard the term gotcha, I thought it was like a play on like got ya,
Yeah,
but it's not. It's just like the Japanese word. That's just like literally what it's called. Like that's the genre. But I thought it was just
like
like
gotcha man.
yeah. So but for some reason I always thought it was got ya because you're like
Yeah.
now hooked and spending money. So that's what I for some reason. And I'm like, oh no, it's just like a Japanese word. But I always said, but I still think today, like I think that's like a pretty appropriate. Like, oh yeah, they got ya.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like that's what it should be if it's not. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. All right. The next thing we want to talk about was a Ubisoft project. It's an unannounced game called Project Q. It was part of that NVIDIA leak that we talked about last week that came out in September. You sent me an article on this. I read it, and I saw some gameplay footage. And let me tell you, this thing looks whack. You know, I always say I'm all for the developers and stuff like that. Every game is for at least one person. Somebody will like it, but this was very early stages and it just looked whack. It looked like a very knockoff version of Fortnite. And it wasn't even like a good knockoff version of Fortnite. So I recommend if you guys want to check it out, it's called Project Q. I'm pretty sure if you Google it, you'll find it somewhere. Um, Ubisoft needs to get their shit together, honestly, because the last couple of things they've screwed up a lot. I know there's been rumors that they're thinking of selling the company to somebody. So this is the last couple of months have not been good for them. What do you think?
Yeah, yeah. The video looked pretty rough. It's definitely like I'm sure the creative development process for the game was we need a Fortnite clone, and that's pretty much exactly what it is. Uh, so yeah, it didn't look great. I think so. It's called Project Q, and then they also had I don't know, a project called or was it just Ubisoft Quartz?
Yeah.
Or yeah, so that was like their whole like NFT marketplace that they're trying to build up that everyone hated, and like that has to be connected, right? Like that's too coincidental for it to be called Project Q, and then also they have this thing called Quartz that was like meant to be their NFT thing, but they did like I think people are asking these questions, and then they did specifically state that this game will not have NFTs in it. But that must be like a recent development. Like I'm pretty sure that was the idea was Fortnite, but with NFTs. I'm pretty sure was the pitch. But that only works if the game's good
Good.
and doesn't look that great.
Well, I mean, honestly, I still don't know how NFTs work. I don't know what they are. I am happy with not knowing how they work and what they are, and I will continue being ignorant. But I will put my 2 cents in video games, and it wasn't a very good looking video game. Obviously, it's an early development. We'll have to see down the road if it even gets developed completely. Um, Ubisoft is known for mainly like having a project, getting some footage out there, and then deciding to cancel at the last minute just because it didn't align well with their plans. So we'll see. It does not look appealing to me, but things could change.
People can change.
And so can video games. All right, and then the next thing, which you're mostly going to be talking about, was that Meta, the company formerly known as Facebook.
Formerly known as Facebook, formerly known as the Facebook.
There you go. They did a gaming showcase for the Quest. I do not have VR. You're the resident VR guy, so this is why you will be taking up this topic. What did you see? What drew your eye? What was shit? Talk to me.
Yeah,
Did you see Mark Zuckerberg?
he was in the showcase. He came in at the end with what they thought was like a big reveal for the show, or like how in these types of events they always have their quote like one more thing.
One more thing.
Yeah, so that was so he came in to deliver that, and that one more thing was a Ghostbusters VR game with pretty limited footage. So kind of questionable on how much of a showstopper that actually is. But yeah, so actually I don't have an Oculus Quest. I was a very much an early adopter on the HTC Vive, so I've had a VR kit for a while, but there just hasn't, which I think everyone knows, there's just not a ton of content to play in VR. So I was more checking this showcase out. So I think this is the second one that they've done. It's kind of their annual show just to highlight all the games that are in development for the Quest. So it's more just curiosity. It's like, oh, is there going to be anything new and exciting where I might actually want to, buy a Quest for myself? The answer is no. It's a lot of the kind of the typical VR experiences that I saw, which like just don't look super exciting to me. In addition to the Ghostbusters announcement, they did announce a game called Ruins Magus, which is a like a Japanese action RPG style game, which I don't think I've seen one of those in VR. So that looked kind of cool. I think there were a couple other like announcements that might be exciting to other people. I think Among Us VR, I think, was like a big thing that some people might care about, but that's not necessarily for me. To me,
I don't know. I don't know if Among Us would translate fully into VR. I think the simplicity of how Among Us is what draws people in. VR, I think, is too much.
Yeah, I agree. The thing that was most noteworthy to me was a statement that was made where they said, I think they were just talking about, Meta more broadly and their strategy, and they're like, yeah, the metaverse might happen in the next 5 to 10 years, but for now, here's some games to check out. So it's like, which I think that timeline probably makes sense, right? Like this is a
Yeah.
very big shift in terms of like their strategy, and that's going to take a lot of time to like figure out and execute. But I just like that they try to like manage expectations with when people could actually expect to see like what is the metaverse and when can we experience it, and that's at least according to that 5 to 10 years away. I think it's could potentially be even longer. Like I think we'll just incrementally have more and more cool stuff that's kind of in line with this whole metaverse concept. But I guess maybe their future, complete vision of it is much longer down the road.
I mean, it sounds like you're telling me the company that spent all this money and did a whole big press conference about the metaverse and how it's the next big future thing said it's 5 to 10 years away. That's insane because I feel like a bunch of other companies are way ahead of them in that package, and they'll probably do it way better than they're doing it. So we'll have to see. Now, I want to play a little game with this. I want to. It's probably a new segment we can make. I want to call it either worth the watch or it should have been an email. And obviously, worth the watch. Was it worth it to watch this keynote or this press conference,
Yeah. Yeah.
or it should have been an email?
Yeah. Should have been an email.
All right. Well, you had to wait till I say both things, and then you say which one
Oh,
it
okay.
is
All
that you
right.
want it to
Well,
be.
you just made this game up. I don't know all the
Yeah.
rules. Like,
All right. All right. So worth the watch, or it should have been an email, Nick.
should have been an email.
There you go. There you go. We'll try to do that for any
I
of
even when I
the.
watched it on the first time, I did the like fast forward, or like I had the speed at like 1.5 times just so I could like
Yeah.
get through it faster. So
Yeah. Only if they pay you would you want to watch this
yeah,
live
yeah,
and in regular speed.
yeah,
All right. All right. So moving on. I know last week we talked about a lot of video game movies that they were developing and how well Sonic 2 was doing at the box office and a big resurgence in video game movies. And this week, two major announcements, I would say, regarding video game movies. The first one being It Takes Two, which we talked about a lot in this podcast, basically being a great game and getting a lot of Game of the Year awards and also buzz. It's going to be developed into a movie. The Rock's Dwayne The Rock Johnson, his production company, is going to be producing it, and there's also talks of him starring in it. And then you also have Streets of Rage, which, if you're not familiar, it's basically like a brawler, beat 'em up, side scroller, much like Double Dragon and Contra and stuff like that. That's also getting developed into a video game movie, and that one's going to be helmed by um, Derek Kolstad, who basically created the John Wick. And the last one being Jason Momoa is attached to starring a Minecraft movie, which that one is like, I don't know how that's going to work, but we'll wait and see. But it's such a big topic because we talked about this last week. We talked about how video game movies are coming to the forefront again, just because a lot of people spend a lot of time playing video games during the pandemic, and the door has been open yet again to get more adaptations. I'm excited for It Takes Two. I think it will be translated really well into a movie. And I like The Rock. The Rock is a very charismatic actor. I can totally see him playing the lead or just making a good movie out of this. I'm excited for Streets of Rage just because I like the game. We both played Streets of Rage 4 together co op. We beat the game. We enjoyed it. The John Wick movies are great, so I'm excited to see that. Minecraft, never played Minecraft. I know the kids love it. I'm out of touch. I'll have to see on that. But Jason Momoa, like the guy, he's very joyful, Hawaiian guy. He's pretty cool. So we'll have to see. Your thoughts on these movies? Are you looking forward to seeing them? Maybe in theaters or maybe at home?
Nah, nah.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow, it was just
Well, I
like a
think
no for me.
yeah, I think
No for me, dog.
it was like the call. We talked about this a little bit last week, and I guess that was kind of the calm before the storm because it seemed like this. There's just like they're coming out of nowhere now. Kind of all these uh, game adaptations. Yeah, I mean maybe Streets of Rage 4 just mainly because of like less the IP and more on it's just like the next thing from uh, John Wick. Uh, that could be cool. But yeah, like nothing jumps out at me as, and I also haven't played It Takes Two,
You gotta play
so
It Takes Two. You
yeah,
will be like,
so
this is definitely be a movie.
yeah. Does it? I mean, did that based on your experience with the game? Like, is there like a like oh yeah, like I could see how that would translate to a movie. Is that obvious
Oh,
to you or?
oh yeah,
Oh,
definitely. I
okay,
mean,
okay.
it's a simple enough story where it could be there's dozens of Hollywood movies that have kind of the same premise,
Mm.
but it's got like a bit of Honey I Shrunk the Kids type thing vibe, little something like that. Beetlejuice I can kind of see. It's got a good aesthetic. Maybe Tim Burton in there. If
Yeah, I
Tim
was
Burton
gonna
gets
say a
to
little
direct,
little bit of Tim Burton.
yeah, I thought it up, so give me some credit. But yeah, I think
Okay.
it's like I said last week. It all depends on the material. I think definitely It Takes Two translates well into a movie, not a TV show. I think the story isn't uh, deep enough to go into a TV show, but definitely could see a movie. Streets of Rage could definitely see that as a movie. Minecraft, I don't know how that's gonna work. Um, a lot of I know like my
Lego Movie was awesome.
yeah, I could see. Oh, you're right. And now that I think about it, you mentioning it, I can see them somehow being like a Lego movie. I just want to say, like, my nieces and nephews watch a lot of YouTube videos of people just playing like Minecraft. I don't know what the appeal of it is, but they love it, and they just love people playing Minecraft, watching them do whatever they do. And I don't get the appeal of it, but who am I to say? I watch League of
I was
Legends
just gonna say
esports
that
and stuff like that.
you
So
watch League of Legends, so
yeah,
you know.
so it's to each their own. So give me two tickets to the other two, and I'll skip Minecraft. Um, but yeah, I'm excited for all these. I'm excited to see a lot of video game franchises just get adapted into other mediums, and see um how these creators just kind of make it their own thing. I don't want to necessarily watch the same thing I play, but I want to see that how it works out. So we'll see. Hopefully they do justice and we keep getting more. All right, and then we're gonna kind of step away from news itself, and we're gonna talk about real quick something I like to call endgame content. And then I bring this up just because this last week, Lost Ark just released a big update with a new character subclass, the Glavier, new continent, season pass, and activities. And then Outriders just announced a big DLC campaign for June 30th, where it's going to have a new campaign, new branches for the classes that they have, and new weapons and gear. Um, and I say endgame content just because with these two games, you have the main storyline, which could take 20 to 30 hours to finish. But then once you get to the end of that, how do they hold you? How do they keep you playing the game? And with Lost Ark, it was my first foray into MMOs. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Once I got to the end game, I still kept playing it. Obviously, I want to play other video games, so I don't play it as much anymore. But it is a wonderful game, and I know that with all the content that they have in Korea, it's slowly making its way to the United States and the European countries and all that stuff to the other regions. So that's going to have a lot of content going forward for God knows how long. I'd have to check on that. And then we have Outriders that I played, put 20 to 30 hours into it, got to the end of the campaign, played some of the end game, but it was very lackluster because just leveling up was kind of weird towards the end, and you couldn't get the loot that you wanted, and it didn't really get a lot of support from Square Enix. People Can Fly, which is the developing studio. didn't really announce anything for a while. A lot of the fans were angry because there wasn't a lot of support. So I just wanted to say, in terms of end game content, like these type of games are just two different views of how it can be done, whether it's right or wrong. I think Lost Ark itself, just hanging up on the back of having so much content to still have from South Korea. I think they're doing a great job. Whereas the silence coming from Square Enix and People Can Fly kind of hampered the game itself, which was such a good game. I know you play with Mitch and Ollie for game night a couple times, and it has promise. It has its good mechanics. The classes and the shooting and stuff like that is pretty cool. It's like a supernatural Gears of War in terms of the powers that you have. Um, but just wanted to talk about in terms of these video games that have the main story, and then once you finish the story, they're meant to keep you there, but they don't hold up. Um, and what's your experience with games like that?
Yeah, did you play Outriders as like a single player, or did you actually do like engage with the multiplayer?
No, so I did multiplayer mainly.
Okay, okay.
Obviously, I would do single player to like replay a mission to pick something up, but I mostly played it with two or three people just to kind of go through the story and see how fun it was, and then being different classes. Obviously, that's more fun than just like having the same class. So
Yeah, yeah, because it's become a weekly staple in game night where it's just, at least for us, it's just something that's, again, it's on Xbox Game Pass, so everyone has it. We can all play it. Yeah, and it's just fun just to kind of go around cooperatively and shoot some stuff. I think you said there's like elements of Gears, but to me it kind of feels like almost a little bit like the Division with supernatural powers. I think that might be another way to kind of think about the games. So yeah, it's a fun game, but like I don't, at least I'm not, and I don't think any of us are like really taking the story too seriously. It's just kind of like
oh yeah,
a fun game to play every once in a
it's
while, but we're not like trying to rush through the game and get to the end game and do all that stuff. Um, so yeah, that's how we're approaching that. And I thought the game was, I was surprised that they're like expanding it. Like, was that a surprise, or did maybe, because I thought they kind of moved on from that game, but
well, to me it wasn't a surprise that they were expanding it. I just thought that this would come out sooner. I mean, it's a
okay, okay,
whole big expansion. They're adding more stuff to the classes. They're adding more gear. Like I know they released some DLC like 3 or 4 months into it, but this game has been out for a year and a half, and this is the first big major piece of DLC. I'm pretty sure the first couple of weeks it was on Steam. It was like one of the most played games, but the crowd died down after a while just because there wasn't a lot of support. The end game wasn't fun, and with these live service games, it's kind of hard to capture that. Which you mentioned the Division. I think the Division is a great game, but the end game content I wouldn't say was on par with what other games like, let's say Diablo, let's say Destiny, or anything like that offer, where it keeps you going back every week, but not necessarily because you're repeating the same things, but just because it's a different way to do what you've been doing. So I think they still got a lot of work to do in terms of getting that right mix of good content and to keep their players hooked. We'll have to see how it works. I don't know if I'm ready to just lay down some more money on this big DLC thing, especially because I got a lot of other games to play that I've been itching to play.
what's your so I think I know Destiny's definitely a big one, but do you have any other games that are like your end game games that you can just like pick up anytime and go back and play, or is it just Destiny?
I think it's just Destiny,
Okay.
but it's mostly just because it's so easy to jump in with your friends if they're around the same level. But I would say and I talked about this before, where they've perfected it. Where now, before, they would just offer their end game content all at once, which kind of, if you're like me, was okay because I would just shoot through it. But then I would be like, okay, now I have nothing to do. But now what they do is they do it on a weekly series. So every season they'll slowly trickle out the content until the season's over, and I think that works so much better. A lot of people don't like it just because they rather get everything done and then go do something else and not have to worry about Destiny. But I think if it just gives you a reason to go jump into the game at least once or twice a week to do whatever you need to do, I think it's much more enjoyable than just doing everything like, oh, I paid $10 for this season and now I'm done and there's nothing to do for another 2 months while I wait for the other season. I think that's what sets Destiny apart. That it was a lot of trial and error. Because if you stuck with Destiny from when Destiny 1 came out 7 years ago to now, you can definitely see the progress that they made. And Bungie have perfected, I think, what it means to do seasons of DLC. Because you can see with like 343 Studios and Halo, they're having issues just doing that, in terms of releasing the campaign, in terms of the season passes, in terms of the content. Like it's still a work in progress. So it took Bungie 7 years. It's not something that is easily available for every studio that wants to do a live service game. It's not going to work for everybody.
Yeah, that's just the more I think about it, like the term endgame, like should that be? It must be different for a live service game or games as a service, right? Because those are basically designed to never end, but
Yeah,
within each chapter or season or whatever, that you kind of reach a point where whatever the main objective is for that season,
yeah,
you kind of reach that, and then you can do other stuff.
yeah,
So I don't know, and the game's kind of a like, because to me, and just for me personally, like uh, I guess I'm not much of an end gamer. Like maybe Final Fantasy 14 is a good example where I was going hard on that game for a pretty long time, and then when I
yeah.
beat Endwalker, I did a little bit of stuff, but I actually haven't really gone back into it that much, and not until like I think we're gonna start playing more, and maybe a few others will start playing more. So that'll be my maybe like first real kind of like end game experience with Final Fantasy 14. But yeah, usually even with single player titles, so single player story based games, I beat the story. I always have this idea in my head of like, oh, I'm gonna platinum this, or I'm gonna 100% it, and then like maybe I'll try to do that for a little bit, but eventually I just kind of want to move on to the next game. So there's not many like end game things that I do on a recurring basis.
Yeah. Well, the thing is too, it's each game could their end game could be different. Whereas, like you said, Final Fantasy, you may have beaten all the expansions up to Endwalker, which is the latest one, but you have like raids, right, that you could do every week and
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that, and dungeons and stuff like that. Same thing with Destiny. I finish the main campaign, but every week I do the raid, or I do a dungeon, or I help uh my buddies out with whatever they need to do. So it's different for everyone, especially if it's a online game, whereas you have like a single player game where you finish the story. Is there end game content? Might you go back and finish what you need to do, like Elden Ring? I beat Elden Ring, but I could still go around and kill some bosses or find some dungeons I missed and stuff like that. So it's just it's my one constant. Destiny's my one constant. I'm trying to expand myself and play more. Like I said, Lost Ark, Final Fantasy 14. Just surround myself with other games that I can get in and out of. I love video
Prove
games.
it.
All right, but we'll have more thoughts on that. Obviously, with more games that come out, especially since a lot of studios are trying to keep a lot of studios are trying to keep the players hooked in and just kind of play that game all the time. So we'll have a lot more thoughts on end game content, live service games, and stuff like that down the road. We're just getting our feet wet with this podcast stuff, guys. So don't worry, more content coming. All right. And that does it for the main topics on this episode of Pressing Buttons. We're gonna move right along into our closing thoughts. I'm gonna start off first. Uh, First thing I want to talk about. I've been playing Horizon Forbidden West. I know I bought the game when it came out. Then I immediately got distracted by Elden Ring and Destiny. So I played the game for about 2 hours. I beat the first major boss, which spoilers, it's like this snake. It's not too much of a spoiler because it's just some snake thing. And then I stopped playing the game, played Elden Ring, played Destiny, and then I decided to get back into Forbidden West this week. And I love the game, love the gameplay. Game looks amazing. Guerrilla Games has definitely done a great job with this sequel. I'm enjoying the heck out of it so far. One thing which we talked about that I have gripes with is like I played the game for 2 hours. It taught me the controls of the game, and then when I picked it up, I was supposed to jump out of this hole, but I forgot how to jump out of the hole. Like you're supposed to, you can throw a hook. If you double jump, you can throw like a hook that attaches you and you can jump higher. But I forgot that how to do it. I forgot that you had a double jump. So I know the game has in-game tutorials. I was too lazy to look through there, so I just Googled how to do the double jump hook in for Horizon Forbidden West, and I found out. But that's just like a minor nitpick thing that I wish more games, if you haven't played if you haven't played them in like weeks or something like that, where you get back in it, they would just refresh the control mechanics over and over again. But I think I don't remember the games, but I think there have been like 2 or 3 games that I've played that have done that. That like it recognizes when I haven't played them in a while, and it'll be like, "Hey, this is how you jump. This is how you run. This is how you target lock." So that was just one of the things where like playing Elden Ring and Destiny, and they have totally different control schemes, and then going to Horizon Forbidden West, and this has a completely different control scheme. I was like, "What the fuck?" So, but great,
WTF?
yeah.
What? So I played the first one and I just got bored with it, and I think the mainly I didn't love the just like the shooting, the arrow shooting mechanic. I
Oh,
got kind of
I
like
thought that was one of the best parts.
I just kind of got like bored with it over time, and then also like the enemy variety was like I felt like really low, so the game just got like really boring for me. Uh, but I thought it looked unbelievable. The characters are cool, so it's kind of like disappointing that I got bored with it. And I'm wondering, based on your experience with the sequel, like if that was kind of like how I experienced the first one, like should I give the second one a shot, or is it going to be like more of the same for me?
Well, I so far it's more of the same. I've only played, I would say, 10 hours. Give me a little bit more time. I'll tell you how it is. I think it is more of the same, but I know that this one has a lot more of the robots than the first one. And I'm always a type of like I'm a big collectible guy and big go over here and do this quest and go over there and
And
do that
smuggling.
quest. Yeah, smuggling, collectibles, farming. I'm all about that shit. So like I've been doing a lot of the mini side quests and stuff like that. Give me a little bit more time. I'll let you know if it's more of the same or if it's worth it for you to get it. Um, Probably by next week I'll let you know.
Okay.
Um, and then the other thing I want to talk about, obviously, I've been playing Destiny 2. Um, we finally beat the raid 2 weeks ago. I don't know if I mentioned it on the podcast. I just wanted to bring it up because doing these Destiny raids is just like such an effort. It takes so much effort from everybody because everybody has to be coordinated and everybody has to know what they're doing and everybody has to be able to hold their own. And then obviously we're on the Discord community. We're on the Destiny channel. We have the guys. We have Keezy. We have Migs. We have Willie. We have Jake. We have Rose. So many guys out there that we do the raid with, and I've been getting frustrated. And I know everybody gets frustrated playing video games, but it's just like one of those things that you spend so much time doing something, and it's just like everybody can't get together. So the guys have been joking with me, and 2 weeks ago, it had been 4 weeks since the raid released, and we still couldn't beat the raid. So, like, I was getting so frustrated that I was like, guys, it's been 4 weeks since this raid came out, and we still haven't beaten. Y'all need to get your shit together. So they immediately, as idiots would do, started fucking cracking up on me, and now they won't shut up. Every time we do something, it's like it's been 4 weeks. They're even making a shirt about it. So I just want to say thank you for finally stepping up and beating the raid and helping me beat the raid. But we should have beat it first week. But
four
anyways,
weeks. Yeah,
yeah, Destiny's.
I can confirm that I've seen a lot of chatter and planning and strategizing happening in the Discord, and I have absolutely no idea what any of it means, but
Yeah.
it seems pretty complex.
Yeah. I just need to clone myself, is what it is. If I could get 5 other clones of me, I won't be
So
frustrated at all.
you're saying you're the best player on your
I'm
clan.
not saying I'm the best player. I'm just saying
It
like
kind of sounds
I
like you're
know.
saying you're the best player in the clan.
I'm saying I know what to do, and if I had 5 other people that were
Okay.
me that
Well,
also knew what to do,
you need a hive mind. Everyone's in
yeah.
sync.
Oh, that's the other. I could just control all of them, but yeah, whatever works. I just
Yeah.
need to do this so we could finish it. But it's fun because you bond, you spend more time with people, and the next season is coming out May 24th. They announced a lot of sandbox changes for the weapons because they usually focus either on the PvE side or the PvP side. A lot of people have been complaining about the PvP side, the weapons and stuff like that, for a while. And they're finally doing like a big Passover where there's going to be a lot of changes. And they're also doing the Solar, which is one of the classes, 3.0 rework, which is exciting because they did the Void 3.0 rework, and that was very popular with a lot of people. So the rumors are, and according to the developers, they're saying that this is one of the best. This is going to be one of the best seasons that they've ever done. So I'm excited. One more month to get into the new Destiny season. All right, so that's it for me on my closing thoughts. What you got for me this week? I told you you better bring something.
Well, I'm here to deliver.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I had a couple pretty busy weeks, just with lots of stuff going on. So hadn't gamed too much, but as of yesterday, I'm now planning on pretty deep on Stranger of Paradise.
Oh, nice.
So
That's my next one after
yeah.
Horizon. So
that's my so as soon as this podcast is done, I'm gonna edit it, and then just play a lot of that. So, and we've provided some impressions on this. We played the demo together, and I think we both enjoyed it, and we're planning on playing the game at some point. It was just more of like a timing thing, and I think the timing's now. I got the PC version, which I think a lot of people are kind of shitting on as not being a great port. I think that's right. So
you think that's
but
that they're shitting on it?
yeah, but I think it's like manageable. So I have to play it. I think if you only play, and I'm still like working through, like fixes and whatever. But
That sounds like a lot of work, bro.
well, that's just to get it better than what I'm currently doing. Right now, I have it capped
Okay.
if you cap it at like 60 frames per second and turn off a couple options, and I have like a pretty beefy gaming rig, so I'm able to play it pretty well, and it's stable, and to me it looks better than when we were playing on a PS5, and I thought it looked pretty bad. So
It's because you have those PC colored glasses.
yeah, exactly, RGB.
Mm.
So yeah, playing that, I think I'm gonna enjoy it, but that's kind of my big focus, my big focus game. And we were kind of making fun of the dialogue and just like how ridiculously bad it is, and
Chaos.
yeah, it's so. Have you seen the movie The Room?
No, but I know of it.
You know what it is.
I know of it.
So
yeah.
to me, so I'll see whether this proves out the more I play it. But to me, it's like it's Final Fantasy meets The Room, just with like how god awful the dialogue is, but it's so bad that it's funny. So that's kind of like my latest take on like actually maybe getting some enjoyment out of the writing and story, because it's just like so laughably bad. And then the gameplay, it's a version of like Neo, but with like more Final Fantasy jobs and classes. So I think I'm gonna have a good time exploring that.
Yeah, whatever they said about like the story being kind of like corny and stuff like that, they always praise the gameplay. So that's and we enjoy the gameplay mechanics and the combat and stuff like that when we play the demo. So you're gonna have to give me those impressions on PC because I'm still like I know you're a PC snob and I am also a semi PC snob, but I feel like I would rather avoid the hassle of like fixing it to make it look better and just play on PlayStation 5, which I thought it looked fine in.
Yeah.
Also, the DualSense, quick little tidbit Horizon Forbidden West, the DualSense, the DualSense is a great controller. I have four of them. That's a story for another day.
That's a flex. Yeah.
Yeah, it's for those clones that I'm making. I need more controllers. No, but the DualSense is a great controller, and Horizon Forbidden West makes great use of it. So that's if a game comes out for PC and PlayStation, and it doesn't blow it out of the water on PC, and I lean more towards PlayStation, it's probably because of the DualSense. Um, Speaking of Final Fantasy stuff, it's been on my mind. I feel like I should play more Final Fantasy. I mean, Square Enix has been on my mind a lot. I've been wanting to play 15 again. I've been wanting to play 13, which very underrated. Knowing that maybe 9 is coming out soon, Final Fantasy is on my mind, and obviously playing 14 slowly.
Yeah, I still haven't caught up with Harry
We
Tip in
gotta,
a while, so
yeah, we gotta meet Harry Tip and what's your name?
uh Valentine Vega or something. It's like some
Yeah,
randomly
Vin-
generated.
Vincent Vega's brother from Pulp
Yeah,
Fiction.
that's why I liked it because it was like it was like, oh, like Vega, kind of like Vincent Vega, so that's why I went with that.
Yeah,
But
Quentin Tarantino's out there.
like all my like typical names were not possible in Final Fantasy
Yeah,
14. So that was kind of frustrating. Like my main one, Bolt Lightning, I can't use because Lightning is an actual character in Final Fantasy 13. So there's like a lot of like restrictions and stuff like that where
yeah,
you can't. So I was like, what else? Use like a fucking randomly generated one.
yeah. We definitely got
So
to get
I
into
was
some Final Fantasy
hair
action.
tip was just no
It
problem.
was a,
Just went
it
right
was
just
a,
went right through.
it was a brain. What was that? Like a brainstorm session? A brain? What's that thing? A brain club? Not a brain club.
Brainstorm. What do you mean?
No, not a brainstorm. A brain group? When it's like a group of people, it's a brain.
Think tank?
Ah, yeah. No, but I thought it was like a brain thing. Anyways,
Brain trust?
yeah, yeah. There you go. It was a brain trust of you, Ollie, and me, and we came out with Harry Tip, and it was great.
Not a brain trust.
But yeah. All right. You got
Brain
anything
doubt.
else? Brain doubt.
uh Actually kind of the same. Very Final Fantasy heavy where so I'm playing Stranger of Paradise. I need to start picking up Final Fantasy 14 again. I haven't really dug into the most recent patch, so I need to do that. Hang out with Harry Tip. And also Final Fantasy X, like this kind of goes back many weeks, but I think this was maybe right before Elden Ring came out.
Yeah.
I just kind of like somewhat randomly was like, oh, let me just actually complete Final Fantasy X. I've tried playing it multiple times over the years and just never actually beat it. So it's on my bucket list of games to beat. So if I have free time, I might try to actually beat that. I think I'm pretty close to the end. So
Nice.
I just want to beat that. And then it's okay. Do I actually then go on to Final Fantasy X-2, which I actually really like that game. So I think I actually did beat that, but it was
Highly
like
underrated.
I think it was at PS2 launch. So that was a while ago, but I think I actually beat that one.
Yeah.
But the fact that I don't remember maybe suggests that it's worth replaying.
Exactly. We were hopped up on Final Fantasy, so you hear that, Square Enix? Release some 16 footage or else. All right. So that does it for episode 16. Make sure you guys join the Discord. We will be doing that shirt giveaway when we get to 100 members. We're giving away 5 shirts. You're going to have a lot of fun on the Discord, guys. The pet channel is thriving. Nothing But Fur, the podcast with Spooky and Boba, is coming out soon, so look out for that. We might make some shirts about that too. It's copywritten, so don't fucking steal my idea. But thanks for joining us, like you do every week, and we'll see you on the next one. I'm Hugo. Bye.
I'm Nick. Later.